Let's go.
Dr. Rosie Milligan, one of the most sought-after speakers on the circuit today. Her live internet talk show, Express Yourself, is the most provocative, thought-provoking, and talked-about radio show on the internet. There's no holds barred, and Dr. Milligan puts the B in bold. She brings it every Tuesday live at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dr. Rosie has been proclaimed the most provocative female writer of the century. Her books include Satisfying the Black Man and Black Woman Sexually Made Simple, Why Black Men Choose White Women, and the book Nigga Please. These books have raised eyebrows across the country. She has authored 21 books and published 350 titles for authors nationwide. Check Dr. Rosie out at drrosie.com for her books, articles, and archives of her internet talk show. Sit at the feet of wisdom. Dr. Milligan is indeed a timekeeper and scorekeeper. She is the clock, calendar, and almanac for Black America. You need to hear her.
You're listening to the Express Yourself Hour. I am your host, Dr. Rosie Milligan, coming to you live with nothing but straight talk. That's how we do it around here, y'all. Nothing but straight talk up in here. My co-hosts are the wonderful two people. Mr. Keith Swanson, we call him the AI man. Keith really introduced me to AI. He was talking about AI. I didn't really know what he was talking about. And then I realized more so when people started calling and saying, does Keith, your co-host, does he really exist? Is he AI? Is he a real person? Yes, I put money on the table for people to identify him. He came to Black Writers on Tour. He had the different functions. His voice never changed. I had up to about $5,000 last year for the person who catch Keith. And nobody got the money, went back down to zero. So, I guess people don't need the money, or I don't know what's going on. But anyway, Keith, AI, are you on this morning? Is AI here? Maybe he's being AI. Maybe he's being AI. Well, he'll pop in and let us know when he jump in. You know how this AI does. They have a mind of its own. My other co-host is Shawannah Bordenave. She's the real estate guru, extraordinary. She sells houses, buy houses all over the country. She's just doing her thing. Good morning, Shawannah. You just got back from Florida. Did you buy a house?
You know what? I'm in the process. I'm negotiating a deal for sure.
I knew you were down there.
I have a couple of apartment units and a house that I'm working on right now.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
We got to be all around. We can't just be locked into one city, one town. There's money all over the United States, and I love the way you go and get it.
Yes. And I'm thinking about Texas, too, so we're going to make it happen.
Okay, well, go ahead on, girl. Go ahead on. Did Keith jump on? Well, anyway, we have a great show for you today. AI Man will be coming in later. Today, we have a wonderful guest. I mean, Shawannah, you're talking about somebody who knows the insurance business in and out, who understand retirement, all of this kind of stuff, to set you up for lifetime, the strategies, how to plan the strategies, because a lot of people, they want to get insurance, but they really don't know enough about insurance, getting some that fit their pocketbook and their family needs. That's more critical than anything. And I tell you, Anita Fern, she's a life and annuity and retirement specialist. Over 13 years in the financial industry, 30 plus years as an engineer working in the aerospace industry. This girl is bad, you guys. Yes, she is. She has served her community by assisting people and businesses to successfully place, build, and accelerate achieving their personal and business financial goals. Specializes in developing value-added financial solutions to compound saving, build legacy. She too believes in generational wealth. We are going to talk about today 10 devastating myths about life insurance in the Black community. Mr. Anita Fern, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Rosie. I'm so excited. I'm so very excited. This is a subject that's vital to our wealth building portfolio.
Absolutely.
So thank you for having me today.
I'm glad that you're here because I have learned that through the years, many people who've gotten very wealthy have been through these products that you've been teaching the community about. I remember how people would get insurance policies for their kids, and by the time they got ready to go to college, they had enough money to either go to college if they said, well, I don't want college because everybody don't want college. Then they would buy them a house or buy them an apartment. And I think that for the Black community, for years, we only thought of insurance as having enough money to bury somebody so we wouldn't have to come out of pocket. I think that's how it got started. Well, if we need to have enough money to bury them. And I think many of them never thought about having generational wealth. And now today, which at the end, later on in the show, we'll talk about, a lot of people shied away from insurance because they thought, I'm not giving money for somebody to have when I'm dead. So you're going to learn from Anita today, man. You can get some insurance for the living. Hallelujah. For yourself.
Exactly.
And that's so incredible. So incredible. So, Anita, tell us a little bit about why you got into this business. Just a little bit about yourself and what you see before we get into the myth.
Okay. So like Dr. Rosie said, I was, basically raised by a single mother, and we did see some struggles, in my beginning years. But also, we know there's a lot of inequities, and most people, they want to blame it on the man. And a lot of that, it was actually a lot of marginal things were set in motion back in history. So the first generation of African Americans that were freed, there were a lot of laws and everything put in place so that we did not reach an equitable financial position. So curious enough, life insurance was one of them, right? In addition to us not being educated and knowing how to read and, being excluded from certain jobs, life insurance was also only available to slave owners originally. So, of course, we were property, so that's where it originally came from. We could be insured, but when we were first freed, during the Reconstruction period, they did allow us to get life insurance on a par level. But in 1881, that all changed, where they said that, Black people that had the same insurance policies as their counterpart whites was only worth 1/3 as much. So it was set from the beginning. There's something really powerful that other people know, and that is that life insurance is to build, protect, and to pass down to generational wealth. So if you're already starting off at an inequitable position, it pays to know your history and find out why we're so clueless when it comes to it, right? Why it's not that important to us, but we, in the process, lose a lot of our assets. So there's only, out of all the insurance people in the industry, only 13.2% are African American. So that means that our job to educate our community is lagging. There's a big gap there, as opposed to 77%, almost 80% of white American, and then 60% is women. So 11% is Hispanic. So there is a big job for us to get our people educated, to get them insured, and to be an advocate for us on our end. So that's why I got involved in industry. I was dual career when I was working as in the aerospace industry as an engineer, and I saw this big gap, and I said, I got to get involved. And it's quite lucrative as well. So if you ever want to get into an industry that creates the most millionaires, you can Google it. It is the financial insurance industry. It's a little bit background.
Don't tell Shawannah that she's been a jump ship.
No, you don't have to jump. You don't have to jump. We cooperate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Shawannah, and guess what? Shawannah, I'm insurance. I'm real estate licensed too. I know that there's wealth both places. We got to do both.
Exactly. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. It's definitely, and what's really, really amazing about the insurance industry is if you become, if you start to be an agent for that, they are the most positive, hyped up people that I know. When they have their meetings, they're like amazing. They'll pump you up because insurance is something that we all need. We're scared of it, but we all need it because when the time comes, it's better to have insurance, not just to bury, but to give something, to the kids and to the grandkids and leave something behind to help the empire so that they can grow. So I'm totally one for insurance. So definitely.
Well, it
seems
to be
Miss Shawannah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Dr.
To
Rosie.
be the most accessible way for the average person to really leave wealth, particularly now. If they haven't already bought a home, especially they in Southern California. It used to be homes was cheap, so you always had a house. You said, leave them a house seat. They would always say, don't sell this property, leave a house seat. In other words, what the older people were saying, we want you to have something. So I think that right now, insurance may be, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the most accessible mean that the average person with moderate to low income can pursue right now.
Absolutely.
Would you say that's true?
Absolutely. That is absolutely true. And what most people don't realize, right into our insurance code, when you have insurance, it creates an immediate estate. So that means that your net worth immediately increases with insurance, just like with property. But unlike property, insurance passes cleanly, no taxes to the next generation. So you need both.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, when I was listening to you do the history about insurance, the value on Black people have always been placed beneath their counterpart. And it reminds me of Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass said, if it is unlawful for a Negro to learn how to read, then I know that knowledge must be the direct path to success. He said that all those years, knowledge, reading, understanding, and it's so important. You guys know how passionate I am about literacy because through the years, I recall people getting policy. They didn't even know what they were getting. I had an insurance agent once, and I was evaluating one of my church members' insurance. She had cirrhosis of the liver, with various, and anyway, and I looked over her policy. She said she had a good policy. She had a son that was 13. And when I looked over her policy, she had an accidental death policy only. And for all those years she had it, she had no clue that it was just accidental death. So it's so important for us to get with someone who have referred us to somebody, get with someone who not just about their pocketbook, but really care about the community as a whole. Because I know Anita does. I wouldn't have anything to do with her if she was not, and she wouldn't have anything to do with me if I was on the up
Absolutely.
and up. So what's your take about that? Should people pull out that policy, Anita, and have someone to look over? Because a lot of times we have stuff tucked away and we don't know what it says, particularly even like car insurance. Most people have no clue when they have an accident or the car get towed. Then I wonder, do I have uninsured motors? Did it cover my property? I had computers. I had my whole business in the trunk of the car. Does it cover the content? Tell me, why is it? Is it because it's so long, so much legal jargon? Why is it that people won't take the time to understand what they have when they bought it?
Exactly. So mostly, like you said, it's of utmost important that you understand what you have. So we do policy reviews, and it's not so we can say, oh, this is a horrible policy. No, it's so you can know what you have. Because what we say is if you're informed, you're going to be able to make really good decisions, right? I mean, it's not like, somebody holds up a clean glass and a dirty glass. You'll be able to see. You don't have to harp on, this is dirty. No, so it's really important. And guess what? It's time out for you not knowing either. I mean, it's just go find out. We can help you free of charge. We don't charge anything because it's really important that you know what you have. Because like Dr. Rosie said, accidental death insurance, they advertise it a lot. You can get a lot of coverage, but you have to die in an accident within 24 hours in order to collect on it. So it's very dangerous to not know what you have. All of your assets are at stake. Your family's, at the brink of financial ruin because one thing happens when somebody, the money maker, the breadwinner, he's no longer here, his support is no longer here. So that is the most important thing about insurance is it indemnifies you. That means it sets you in a position to where there's no financial loss when the person is no longer here physically. Really important to get your review.
Anita, why don't you go ahead and throw your telephone number out right now? We'll repeat it throughout the show because I think it's so important for people to pull those policies out and to make sure that they have what they think they have. You'll be surprised what's in your policy. I mean, take the time and go through and underline the question you have, the thing that you don't understand about it. I mean, get back with your agent or talk to somebody in insurance. So go ahead and tell us.
Exactly.
Tell them how they can reach you.
Okay, you can reach me at area code 323-394-5313 and leave a message, or you can text me at that number and I will get back to you within 24 hours.
Okay, great. Wow, this is really interesting, and I know let me get the number out because we may have people who want to talk to you. The number is 310-928-7733. That's 310-928-7733. And I know a lot of people out there, they're waiting for the reparation. I believe we're going to get it. But my message is to people, while we're waiting, in the meantime, make sure that your family is secure by any means necessary. You want to make sure they have the proper insurance, proper medical, proper everything. Most people don't even know what their medical plan offer. And right now, I know they're going through, I think, where you can change, what they call this, the changing season.
Open enrollment.
Open enrollment, where you can take a look at your policy and compare it with other people. Some people think, Anita, because they have Medicare, that's, subsidy, they don't realize the power that they have to at least have the best coverage versus just because they had to enroll in a plan. I think a few years ago when they started Obamacare, you had to be in a plan. But you need to look at through the years. Don't wait until enrollment time. Look and see what they have to offer because there's a great difference in a lot of these companies as to how much medical they paid for. So I think it's just time. This is the era of information. It's time that we really endow ourselves with knowledge in every aspect of our lives. So we're going to look at, and speaking of that, Shawannah, I had a client whose house got something happened, flooded, a whole bunch of stuff, and he has it cost him a lot to have it repaired. The insurance paid him $30,000. So he wanted me to find him a lawyer to try to find out what he could do because the roof is going to cost more than that. So I said to him, well, you need to produce your insurance policy. When did you buy the house? He said in 1984. Now, look, folks, you best to take a look and see what your policy read. Maybe that's all it covered during that time when you got it. Am I right, Anita? You guys? So maybe he should have only got $30,000. I don't know. People have to upgrade. You have to reevaluate.
Well, it really depends on sometimes flood insurance is not covered either. It just depends on if you have certain insurance covered in your insurance policy. So you do have to read that to make sure that everything is right.
But when you say you need to update, because if you bought your house with $24,000, your insurance not going to cover it's worth worth $1 million now. Certainly you need to relook at it. Replacement value. That's what we're talking about. We need to look at Do I have enough insurance to replace my house if it burns down? Am I right?
Exactly. And yes, and I don't think they watch it as closely when the house is paid off, but when you have a mortgage company involved and they make sure it's kind of up to par. But yeah, if it's paid and clear, you do need the proper insurance for the replacement value. Definitely. Yeah. I've been a homeowner since I was 21 years old. So, my mom sold real estate too. Yeah. So it's really important that you know what you have all the way around.
Right. Especially if you paid the house off and you bought it 40 years ago. He might be at a rate that he should have only gotten that. Well, we're going to jump into looking at some myths. Why some people don't have insurance, what they think about it. And
all right.
I think we'll start with myth number 1. I'm going to give the number out again. That number, let me put the chat board up so I can see. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds exciting.
Myth number 1. Oh, look like we have a caller on hold. Do we have a caller on hold? If so, caller, open your mic, give us your name, tell us where you're calling from, and what is your question? Caller, go ahead. Look like we got, okay, 323, caller, go ahead. Okay, maybe the caller's just listening. If you want to jump in, just open the mic and jump in. We're going to look at myth number 1. I only need enough insurance to bury me. Ooh, is that true? And if
Absolutely
you got just
not.
enough to bury you 10 years ago, you sure out of the box now. Did you upgrade?
Exactly. Yes, back in the day, I hear a lot of people saying this, but the insurance company, when they insured, African Americans, it was for a small policy amount, and it probably buried them back in the day. But nowadays, like you said, Dr. Rosie, you need a substantial amount. I mean, one of the figures I just heard, you need at least 15 to 20,000, to properly put away. But also the insurance collector, it was so important that they would knock on the door and come get the premium every month. That's how important and how serious, the African Americans, Black people took their insurance. They made sure they paid it. It was part of and they didn't wait to mail it in because they didn't want it to lapse. So unfortunately, those low insurance death benefits are no longer sufficient. They don't suffice. But also, fortunately, they offer us more now, guys. We can get a lot more because there were some discriminatory practices initially in the insurance industry, and those have all been outlawed. Thank goodness.
Person wasn't available.
Is somebody talking?
Oh, someone have their mic open, so please, just mute unless you want to ask a question. Anita, can I put you on pause just for a minute and take a call? Caller, go ahead. Caller 3310. Open your mic and ask your question or tell us what you have to say. Okay. Going once, going twice. Okay. Caller 310-403. Go ahead. Okay. I don't know if you have a problem getting in. We see your number 310-403, or maybe you're just listening. So we'll move ahead. So Anita, as you were saying, I remember those days. It was barrier insurance. They would come around and collect your money. They would have that money in a little bag or under the mattress, and if they were not there, they tell you the insurance man come in and make sure they were serious about paying their barrier insurance. Isn't that amazing? And these are people who maybe didn't even have a 10th grade education, but I don't get it. They understood something back in the day that our people don't understand now. They have college degrees, PhDs, everything. Those people understood the importance of not having to beg somebody to bury them. They all had a little barrier policy or a little insurance policy. Like they all believed in buying homes. What happened? I'm really so confused. What happened? Did education make us stupid or what? I don't know.
Yeah. I think we became more dependent on other people to tell us, right and wrong, and it doesn't come through the family, tree anymore. Just all the common sense things like owning property, getting insurance, making sure, you raise the kids properly. It's a lot of things that are kind of getting left out.
You're right. It was handed down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now we in the era where people say, I don't have to get insurance. Shoot, go fund it. I'm not doing any more GoFundMe to bury nobody. Put them in the backyard.
Okay.
I don't care what you do. Everybody know. You know you're going to leave here. It makes no sense now for anybody to have proper insurance. You get insurance on your cell phone, your microwave, your iron that you buy, your ironing board, your toaster. What's wrong with people? But your life. Come on. Okay, myth number 2 is say they would just blow it away anyhow. So I ain't getting no insurance.
Oh my goodness, no. So I'd like to kind of answer that with another story that I have tons of them. Because we deal in our community and things. We'll talk to people, they don't get it, and the next month something unfortunate happens. But they said they're just going to blow it away. That comes with education. I mean, usually your kids will do what you did, right? So if you educate them properly, then they will, follow suit. So, if you inherit money, then you need to tell your kids how to use it, right, and what to do with it. I know, when we were younger, I was telling you I was raised by a single mom, but my mom worked 3 jobs, right? How did she do it? She worked at the post office, she sold real estate, and she did income taxes. So guess what? And we always owned a home. So all her children, there's 4 of us, we all own homes. My brother worked at the post office. He did taxes. And my brother and I, we did real estate, right? So it's just that your children will do what you did. So you got to kind of point the thumb back at you if your kids you're afraid they're not going to use the money properly. Teach them. They will do extraordinarily well and better if they have some money when you pass away.
Absolutely. It's all into legacy planning, folks. It began with education. We must learn so that we can teach the next generation. People not passing it down. You have insurance. That's why I said it's time to get in your children's business, and it's time for children to get in their parents' business. It is critical.
Exactly.
You need to ask, do you have insurance? Yes. How much? Ask that question, because they're talking about 10,000. It costs more than that to put you away now. And we must plan and put it into action. Teach them. And if there is concern about them just blowing it, you can kind of rule from the grave. You put a trust in place and you leave someone over it.
God.
Okay, you can rule from the grave right there, because you can say they're to get this amount when they get 18. When they get 21, give them this amount. Come on, folks. It's a way to do this. If you have not prepared them, and even if you tried and they just didn't get it, they're not ready to get it right now, that portion you can rule from the grave by putting a trust in place and saying what you want to have with this money. Because once they get the first, they blow it real fast. The second, they're going to go, wow, whoop. When I get that second, they're going to be tighter. When they get to first, they're going to tell all their friends they got in there. All their friends going to be broke. Somebody's house going to be in foreclosure. They're getting ready to repossess cousin's car. It's funny when you get some money, everybody in your family have a need. You wonder, well, what were y'all going to do if I didn't get this money? So these are things you need to look at. Put it in place where they can get an increment with a trust. Now, if you don't have a trust, you end up in probate. The judge is not going to be trying to look out for you, saying, well, make sure he don't spend all the money. Now, Junior, you make sure you save it. No. At the end of probate, they will give you that distribution, and you can do whatever you want with it. Okay, let's look at myth. And those who are on the phone, we invited you to join us, but at the time you did not. But if you choose to, just open your mic and just jump right in. We'll take your question or your concern.
Dr. Rosie, I wanted to say about that income and everything that I had a young lady that had that same thing where they let her out X amount of dollars like every 5 years. And the first amount that she received, she just blew it. And that's what would have happened if she had it all. She would have been gone. But after 5 years passed, she realized she had to do right by the money. And then she invested it. And so the next 5 years, every time she received a lump sum, she invested it properly and made that money work for her. So the first time they may blow it, but the second time around, when they understand that the money goes really fast, they won't blow it. So, you know, sometimes it's a learning curve. So it's a good thing to have that for your kids.
And you
So
can
absolutely. And that's why Dr. Rosie and I, we work together because definitely the life insurance is a powerful tool, but it does need to be managed. And like she said, you can manage from the grave where you put it in your living trust and you say exactly how you want it to be dispersed. That's why we work together. So you put your life insurance in your trust, right? So it does what it does. One other thing, Dr. Rosie, I wanted to say is, in case you don't realize it, how important in the state of emergency we're in, you know, everybody studies our community, and I'm talking about the Black community. And we're one of the biggest consumers, right, in the United States. So as part of that, they follow in the world. So Forbes magazine has done a study, and they have already concluded that African Americans they're trending to be at zero net worth by the year 2053. Isn't that alarming? So there's a lot of factors that go into that. One big one is home ownership, where basically that's not at the top of our list anymore, and life insurance. Do you know in the Jewish community, they believe so much in life insurance that their next generation, if they don't have children, it's going to be a niece or a nephew. They get at least $1 million coverage. And a lot of times they receive that benefit without knowing the person that left it to them. So we need to do likewise. Make sure that we create millionaires when somebody leaves here.
Exactly. Even institutions, they leave money for institution, foundation, whatever they believe in. They want to make sure that it is perpetuated down through generations. Myth number 3, if I leave them a lot of money, they will spend it on somebody else. Now, what are they talking about?
You mean like a spouse?
Yes.
Okay. So like if you're married, we run into this a lot. Well, I don't want to leave a whole lot for my wife, and she gets her second husband and they just live, off that money I spent. Or they received when I passed away. So here's a story. I had one individual, and he told me that his dad died when he was 8 years old. But because his dad had a life insurance policy, which was put in place to replace his income when he was no longer there, that's called indemnity, right? That the financial support will still be there when the person is not there physically. He said because his mother had received the money from the dad's insurance policy, his mother did not have to remarry because she didn't need money. So he was eternally grateful that his dad thought enough to leave that insurance policy so he would be taken care of, and the mom, in the event that he would pass away. So, guys, it's not for somebody else to enjoy. People don't get married because a lot of times they marry because they need help.
Wow.
So
now that's very
get
powerful.
it to take care of your wife and children.
And think about it.
Or the opposite.
Yes. If you truly love your spouse, you would want them, however they spent that money, you would want her to live happy and good with the next man or woman in their life. Don't you want happiness to go on? It shouldn't matter to you how she spends that money. So anyway, that's myth number 3. Let's look at myth number 4. My parents didn't leave me anything, and I worked hard. My kids can make their own way. They're on their own. How selfish.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, and it's funny because nobody did that for them. They say that, but that's not what happened. I mean, typically in the previous generation, or at least two back, they did have homes and they left them, right? But life insurance is the easiest way, and it's the only way you can guarantee that wealth will be transferred to the next generation. And it's like, I mean, I'm sad to say if anybody thinks that way. I want my kids to have 10 times more than what I have, right? And more wise to go with that, so they can compound it and increase it, right? Do you know that I think it was the Rockefellers, they sit around and they have this money, right? And they come up with ideas on how they're going to grow it and invest it. So they get money out of the pot, and they have to be accountable and come back and say what they did with it. Right? Isn't that a concept? Why can't we do the same?
That's a biblical
So life
concept.
insurance can provide, it can provide that seed money where that happens over and over again. And then it compounds into several million and multi-million dollars if everybody's on the same page.
You know what?
So when you know better, you got to do better.
Right. We always have these discussions, and, the discussions are for an hour. They sound good, right? But there's some people that may really be interested. And for those that are interested in really hearing this, I would like us to do like a Zoom meeting so that they can really understand what they're actually getting, whether they get it right now or they get it later or never get it. I don't know. But at least they understand what the real purpose of insurance is. We can have Q&A live on Zoom. So it's not just this 1 hour talk about it. I think we need to really take action, because we need to take action on us purchasing properties as a group or single, whatever. But we need to encourage each other to grow so that we can grow empires, something that we're not taught to do. And we need to do it. If somebody could show you how, and I know I can show you how to buy properties. I could show you. I mean, I was 23 years old when someone showed me how to do it, and I didn't have any money. And I was out there telling people I could buy their property, and I knew how to do it. And I actually started doing it. So I think if we show the people what the real thing about this insurance is, maybe Dr. Rosie, you could put together like a Zoom meeting where we can really encourage people. And it doesn't have to just be one time. We can do it where let's grow this group so that we can really grow our community. So that we can be powerful.
Exactly.
And Anita does that once a month. We do a Zoom seminar. I mean, she breaks that insurance down I learn a lot from it. The insurance we tied into the trust, the wealth building, to protect, to earn, to keep. And at some point we'll put one together. Shawannah, a good idea, and really talk about the real estate, because there's a real push on the fact that we're losing ground. We own less homes now than we did in the past. So that's a good idea that we do a trio on one of these things, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. We need to do that. And then also, Shawannah, there's this thing called, how they have PMI, which I think is from the devil, where you got to pay private. I mean, it comes along with it a lot of times. But we have a thing called mortgage protection insurance, where it actually, if anything happens where you get sick, a critical illness, or unfortunately someone passes away, the policy will pay out to the homeowner, not the mortgage company. You get sick and you could get a lump sum, $100,000, so you can recover properly and keep your property. So we have a lot of different things that we need to, collaborate on.
Okay, that is wonderful. Yeah. Well, when my parents didn't leave me anything, it's irresponsible. Let's look at irresponsibility versus responsibility. In King James Version, 1 Timothy 5:8, it says, if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. If you die with your wealth, Dr. Miles Monroe said, if you die with your wealth, you are a generational thief. Did you hear that?
Wow.
A generational thief. That's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
But it's true.
Wow. Hey, speak on that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, some of those people, some of the people that didn't leave something behind, they just wasn't able to. That doesn't make it that you don't have to leave anything behind because your parents weren't able to.
Yeah,
if you're able to, you must. You must.
And if
you're
you
able
think
to,
like
you
that,
must
they
not. You
shouldn't have
have to.
left
You
you
must.
behind.
Right.
Let's look at myth
Exactly.
number 5. I have coverage through work, and it's enough. Oh, bad decision.
Okay.
Bad decision. Come on.
Group. Okay, that's called group life insurance. So what that means is as long as you're with that group or that company, you're covered, right? But you guys know that there's no money in that, right? It's only for the term that you're employed there. And the other thing that's really peculiar about that, a lot of times when you pass away, you'll get some, and so will the company, because you passed away. So that's one thing, neither here nor there. But if you get fired or you quit, that life insurance does not go with you.
Right.
That's another important thing to know. And then here's the other thing, that when you retire, you can have it, but it's going to be extremely expensive. You won't get the group rate.
Average person
more than you can afford.
Insurance.
Exactly. So that's the third thing that you need to be aware of. The fourth one is, I just recently had a case where one of the ladies who, we partner in this business, her husband passed away recently, and she had him on her group plan at work, right? So he was he died at 76, and he died, a month after his 75th birthday. So she paid for the funeral. She took care of everything because she didn't want to, bother with trying to get the money. And then she went back to recoup the money from her group plan. Guess what they told her? They said, he doesn't have insurance. He's not insured. So she says, no, I've had him on there for years. He's my husband. So they said that his insurance ended on the group plan up until he was 75 years old. So he was 1 month past at 76. You think they called and told her that?
Oh, my goodness.
Before they dropped them? Absolutely not. So group plans, I would tell you they're good to have, but don't put your faith in them. Get your own portable policy that you can take with you wherever you go.
Wow.
You keep the power with you.
Right, because who is responsible for your family's future? Is it your employer? Is it the government?
No.
Is your family?
No.
It's you. It's you. So you have to always keep that in mind. Okay, myth number 6 says life insurance is a bad investment, or I only want term insurance. Now, who told you that life insurance was an investment? Life insurance is life insurance. Now, if you have an investment through a life insurance company, that's totally different. Anita, talk to them, baby.
Okay, a bad investment. So I will kind of chalk that up to the lack of knowledge on what it's for, right? So life insurance, and this I just pulled right off the internet, is a key method for enhancing prosperity and financial security, right, over the generations. That's what life insurance is for. It is not an investment. It is a life necessity. It is an essential part of your foundational portfolio. It's not even part of it. It's your foundation, because all your assets need to be protected. And for years, wealthy people have had life insurance. They never use their own money. So life insurance is called OPM. You guys know what that is?
Other people's
money.
I love
it's
using
other people's money.
I love
They
it.
don't ever. Wealthy people never use their own money. In fact, they get an insurance policy, so when they pass away, the capital gains will be paid by an insurance company. So all their assets go to the one that's inherited them. They know how to use them. The assets you own, everything you own is the asset is insured. In fact, it's mandatory. You got to have car insurance. Not mandatory for your phone, but if you don't have it, it's kind of silly, isn't it? Because you just spent $1,000. Okay, home. You got to have homeowners insurance, right?
Right.
You got to have it for your washing machine, because it's like you can't afford to pay, the cost of buying a new one every time it breaks down. So guess what, guys? Your biggest asset that you have is what?
Taxes.
It's you. You are the biggest asset you have.
Asset.
So why aren't you insuring you?
You have to be insured. You definitely.
You're the money maker. You're the money maker.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right. And if
so
it's
not.
Everything should be paid.
And you know what?
Exactly.
That's so important that you're talking about that. Even those you listen who own businesses, you need to be talking to an insurance agent. Because if you are the essential person that's making that wheel turn, what if something happened to you? You need business insurance. You need if you are a surgeon go and get insurance based on that specific profession. That if something happened to your hand, you're out of business. Insurance all around us. We need to look at what
Lloyd's
is it
of
that
London.
I need.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Exactly. And if you're a business owner, yes. Yeah. And then also if you're a business owner, go ahead.
I'm going to make the joke. Jennifer Lopez insured her butt.
Oh,
really?
She did. She really did.
Oh my God! Yes. Or did she patent it? Which one? Patent or insurance?
She insured it to make sure if anything ever happened to it, it was insured.
Wow!
Yes. Oh my God! Okay, that's her moneymaker, though. I guess
that's her moneymaker.
That was her moneymaker.
You're moneymaker.
Yeah.
So you should insure yourself.
Yes. Absolutely.
Now, what were you going to say about the business?
I was going to say that if you are a business owner, right, and, you have a viable business, even if you're just getting started, you are the key person, right? And also, if you have employees, you can set up, get with your tax person. I can also help you with that. You can set up an executive bonus plan where it's part of your compensation that you have this insurance policy, and a lot of times your business can pay for it. And it's a tax deduction.
Wow, that's good. And I tell you another industry that you need to be working with is these churches, especially the smaller ones. Mm-hmm. They have nothing in place, and then the minister get senile, can't hardly get up, don't know what he's saying, still trying to preach because he's dependent on that money. They need to have a plan put in. And need to have something put in for the wife versus expecting the church to take care of your wife if you drop
Dr.
dead.
Rosie.
What?
You hit a nerve for me. Okay, absolutely right. So do you guys know as part of the minister's compensation, the congregation needs to buy an insurance policy on the minister and his family, because guess what? He gives his whole life and dedicates it to the church. And like Dr. Rosie, he's there, he's sick, he's still preaching every Sunday. If he had an insurance policy, guys, you can get lifetime tax-free income from that policy. And it can be for a substantial amount, too. So he can get that paid out. If anything happens to him, his wife and children that sacrificed their dad for his entire life can be taken care of. The church doesn't have to do it. If he wants to retire, then the church doesn't come out of the money and pay 2 salaries for that minister and the next one coming up. Here you go. Here's your insurance policy. And the next one coming in gets one too. It's the obligation of the parishioners to take care of their minister.
Wow. And I think about that every time I think of the leaders who work so hard for us, and when they die, their kids are left with nothing. Nobody stepped to the rescue. I think about Dr. King.
And the wife, too.
Yeah, I think of Dr. King. I think about Malcolm X and the community. Nobody came to their rescue to say, do you need anything? We need to protect people who serve. People who serve are worthy of being protected. Okay, myth number 7. The Lord,
keep them coming.
The Lord will provide. Therefore, I do not need to take action. Woo!
Okay. That old saying.
One guy said,
Go ahead.
He said, if it wasn't for Christians, I would be one.
Ooh. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So, yeah, we kind of, you know what? Just because we come. Okay. So, first of all, I'm going to start off with this. If you study the Bible, right, God never meant for us to just hang around with Christians. He told us to go into the world so we can be a light. So we bring a light because when we show up someplace, people's lives should be better. So one way that they can be better is you teach them about their building their wealth, right? And I heard a minister recently say, he said, you know what? The reason for the smash and grab is the parents ain't got no money. It's ridiculous, right? If you So we
Wait
should
a minute.
focus
You
on
mean
generational wealth and building our wealth.
somebody
Go
actually
ahead.
said something just that stupid. Black people have been in a position for years and all the way back with nothing, but they took
Hmm.
nothing and made something. They didn't go around snatching
Absolutely.
and stealing and taking and robbing. I'm tired of people
Hmm.
making excuse for ignorant conduct,
Right.
And when we, like
Exactly.
this statement, it's confusing trusting in God with relinquishing our personal responsibility.
Absolutely.
It's
But
always,
it is our duty to create wealth. Do you know that that's what we're supposed to do?
mhm.
We're supposed to create wealth. God put us down here so we can bring his kingdom to the earth. As Christians, and people are supposed to look at us and say, you know what I would do if I wasn't saved? I would get saved. People are supposed to be saying that.
Right.
And not the other thing. If it wasn't for Christians, I'd become a Christian. Right?
Right.
So, no, we have a big job to do, and we're supposed to be storehouses where we
And
distribute to the needy.
and you know what? People be more inclined to want to be a part of your godship because they judge it. You're a Christian, you Bible
Hmm.
told, but you the brokest thing on earth, you the sickest thing on earth. And people look at
Mm-mm.
your wealth, prove to the world that God does provide. People say, "Well,
Exactly.
he owned the cows on 1,000 hills." I hear people always say that. I say, "Yeah, he's your father. He owns the cows on 1,000 hills, but you can't get a piece of bacon." What kind of God is that?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It speaks loud
Exactly.
and clear to the fact that we do have a God in our life, and it speaks to the fact that he is a provider by the wealth that we
Exactly.
accumulate. He gives us the power. It is he who gives us the power to get wealth, not
To get
ourselves.
wealth, to establish his covenant. That's what we
Yeah.
are here for. Yeah.
And
So to let him know we do say a living and wealthy God.
because you know what, you guys, listen to this. Some of the ism and schism that people use
Mm-hmm.
from the Bible to stay in poverty. Like they would tell me, "You're always
Mm-mm.
talking about money, but the Bible said the poor you shall have with you always." I said, "Yeah, but it didn't say poor Rosie." And it wasn't
No.
talking, you taking it out of context. Read those scriptures
Exactly.
and see how you're taking it out of context. He was talking to those who were saying, "Well, you can take this oil and give to the poor." And he was saying, "I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to be with you always. I came here to die and to leave. The poor you will have
Yeah.
with you always." They take it out of context. And one lady said to me, "Well, you're always talking about trust and preparation, but the Bible say in Matthew, take no thoughts for tomorrow." I said, "You ignorant again." There go ignorantism
Mm.
right there. You take no thought for
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow if you want to. Then you going to be
Exactly.
up under a tent and your kids will be under there with you. Stop
Yes.
misquoting the Bible. If you don't understand
Yeah.
it, go ask somebody, okay?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like the man
Exactly.
said, if it wasn't for Christian, he said he would be one. And I,
Oh my goodness,
oh
a
my
sad
God,
commentary.
it is. Myth
Yes.
number 8 said,
The,
"I don't want to profit from the death of my child." That's people who don't want to get insurance on their children. Come on, talk about that.
okay.
They
So,
rather do
you
GoFundMe.
know, no. GoFundMe is not fair. It's not fair for your loved one that passed away. Preparation. I mean, if you want a meal, you got to go to the store and buy the groceries, right? So you can come home and prepare it. So it's just essential. I'm going back to that. It is not something I'll take it or leave it. Now, if they made it mandatory that we had life insurance, which they probably should, but I think if the government had to pay for everybody, they would make it mandatory, right? That we have life insurance.
Yeah.
But no, your children, they need coverage because guess why? Things are happening to kids earlier and earlier. I have a cousin right now in his 30s. Why does he have prostate cancer? So if he had a policy when he was younger, they're less expensive. And guess what, guys? If you get your young, family members, your children, your grandchildren policies, by the time they get to an age of college, they'll have money for college. By the time they get to, maybe their 30s and they worked a little bit, they will have a nice down payment. Because what I'm saying is you don't have to wait to die to get the benefit out of your policies. Certain type of policy, I can let you know what that is, and then they can still use that same policy when they get into their retirement days, and they can have lifetime tax-free income. So that is all available to you. I can share it with you because that is what I am supposed to do. You're supposed to tell people how to prosper, get wealth, and pass it down to the next generation. And I believe that the Lord will be pleased with that.
Wow. Before we go to myth number 9, I want you to really talk about that life benefits, because a lot of people won't get insurance because they think, well, why am I paying this? I'll be gone. It's for somebody else to enjoy. Please talk about living benefits.
Okay, so one of the things that's happened in the insurance industry, I like to tell these stories. So I met this client of mine one day, and she was like, you know what? In the 80s, I had this car, and I really liked it. It was called a Gremlin. I'm looking for a Gremlin car. I'm like, oh, my God, a Gremlin? Those were trash back in the 80s. Why do you want one right now, right? Same thing with insurance policies. They have evolved over time, and they've gotten better and better to more mirror what our lifestyle is. The truth of the matter is people are living longer sick. So people have, because of the advancements in the medical industry, people have had a cancer, heart attack, stroke, and they survived it. So insurance policies now, not all of them, but they have this thing called living benefits, and it's included as a free rider. So that's another reason, last question, why do children need these policies? It's because of the living benefits. That means if you get a critical, chronic, or terminal illness, these policies will pay you out a lump sum. And I'm not talking about disability. So if you have a policy, and I just had a family member of mine, they had cancer a couple of years ago. And she's like, now, why did I get this policy? I think I'm going to cancel it. We looked into it, and she got a lump sum payout. So they can be $20,000, $80,000, $180,000, $1 million. They pay out up to $1 million, money in your pocket, no questions asked. You can use it for whatever you want to. You just have to have a qualifying life event. That is how these policies have changed. You can accelerate the death benefit while you're still alive, and you can help yourself pay all your bills. Your health insurance does not pay your house note, car note, living expenses. So these policies are designed to pay you out so you can get better and live. Absolutely. Not so somebody can wait, right. And you get no benefit from it.
You can see it in your lifetime. Okay.
Exactly.
Number 9, we're almost out of time, but let me cover 9. It says if I buy life insurance, then something will happen to me. We don't have to elaborate on that because you hear that a lot. If I buy insurance, something will happen to me. As if they're going to die because they get insurance. Yeah, because I know Mr. Jones.
As
soon as he got that life insurance, he died.
You know what? It reminds me of, because I used to be that person. I used to be that person, Dr. Rosie. I am not going to lie to you.
You are kidding.
No, I am not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. I remember my cousin came over. She said, I want to sell you some life insurance. And she just popped up over my house with the life insurance person. And I put my hand up in the cross like, get away.
Oh, my God.
But I did get insurance later. I got insurance later, but at the time I didn't understand the importance of insurance.
I don't know who started that if you get insurance, you think you're going to die or you're going to die. Because people sure say that.
Right. Well, a lot of people, even in the church, they feel that way. They're living by faith and everything. A lot of ministers didn't even have health insurance, right? But it's like, no, prudence, right? You got to I told you it's foundational. It's just like you have a house. I'm not getting homeowners insurance because my house, nothing's going to happen to it. The Lord watches over my house. It's like, no, you got to have it. So same thing, like I said, your biggest asset is your money maker. And no, it's not that something, it's going to probably happen to you if you don't get some, right? It's going to be devastating. Right. So it's really important,
We close out of time. Let me just say the 10th one. The 10th one myth. People of color pay higher premiums, so I ain't getting no insurance. And you told me, Anita, back it's based on occupation, it's based on history, based on lifestyle, based on a whole bunch of stuff that had nothing to do with your color.
Exactly. So it's illegal for that to happen now. At one point, they were doing that kind of stuff. They were. So a lot of times that is not unfounded, but today that is not something that that plays a factor. But what does, right, deter you? No, absolutely. You go and get as much as you can. You know, it's the cheapest. It's pennies on the dollar for millions of dollars of benefit. So you pay pennies on the dollars. The insurance companies, they have to have enough money in reserve to pay out your entire death benefit. $1 million, $2 million, 500,000, 100,000. They have to have the money. They're very smart insurance companies, and they also are regulated. So health issues will probably stop you. Tobacco, like you said, lifestyle, hazardous hobbies. If you like to dive off of, mountains and cliff diving, okay, so that's a problem. Dangerous occupations, mental health conditions, not all of them, but, some of them. And then just being pregnant. They have kind of backed off a little bit.
That's why black folks don't want to get mental health. That's why black folks don't want to seek mental health. They think it's, and I do hear people say the only thing you go up there, you go see a psychiatrist. Next thing it's on your insurance company to pull your records and they deny you. Well, that'll be a whole nother conversation. We'll talk about that because we're really out of time. Anita, I want to thank you so much, but give your phone number again out for people who need their insurance needs.
Okay, so my phone number is 323.
Okay,
oh, yes, guys, that's another. Yes, 323-394-5313. So give me a call. My services are free of charge. What I do is I sit down and make a personalized plan for you because everybody's situation is different. But everybody needs insurance.
And if you're interested in the Zoom call, where she goes into detail, step-by-step explain, email me at Dr. Rosie, DRROSIE, and just say, let me know about the insurance seminar, insurance and trust seminar. And we're going to add one later with the real estate because that's really important. You can call me at 323-750-3592, 323-750-3592. Email me at Dr. Rosie, DRROSIE@AOL.com. Anita, thank you so much. You've been a wonderful guest, and hopefully we can have you back. And so we can do
Thank you for having me.
Sure, we want to do
Yes,
part
absolutely.
two.
Absolutely. Powerhouse conversation. Powerhouse.
Exactly. So
thank you, Shawannah. Very nice meeting you.
Yeah, thank you, too. I want to put my number out there, too, for anybody that wants to sell a piece of property, wants to buy a piece of property. I want you to call me at 818-201-6565.
Give it again.
818-201-6565. I'm waiting to hear from you right now.
You need a trust, will, or power of attorney, call me, Dr. Rosie, 323-750-3592, 323-750-3592. Anyone didn't get a chance to listen to this show, it will re-air at innerlightradio.com, INNER, innerlightradio.com at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tell your friends and everybody, jump on so they can get a piece of this. You guys have a great day again. Thank you, Anita.
Okay, thank you all. Bye-bye.